All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Play with Fire, book number 5. Right there, it says it, book number 5, in Dana Stabenow's Kate Shugak Alaskan Mystery Series. This book came out in 1995. I don't know how many Alaskan Kate Shugak mysteries there are. I've got them all over here in my my library. We'll pan down to the my Dana Stabenow. There's my Dana Stabenow collection right there. I don't know how many books that is, but it's it looks like it's about 20, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I should have done that research a little better. Okay, let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. One thing I do like about the collection of Dana Stabenow books is they've all got these similar covers that all look alike. They've got the 5. I mean, you know exactly what book in the series it is because it tells it. I wish a lot of publishers would do this. I mean, Head of Zeus Publishing, I think this is a British publisher. They always do a good job of keeping everything consistent looking. So thumbs up on the cover. There's maps. Page, let's see, it says page 244 there were the map. The maps were at the end. I do remember that, I think. Yes, there's maps of the areas in Alaska that we will be visiting. And so, Kate Shugak is a native Alaskan. She is someone that was a police person, investigator, solves murders and different things. This is book number 5. If you want to watch my reviews of books 1 through 4, I have done those. Just type in my last name, Durfee, and Dana Stabenow's name into YouTube search bar, and those video reviews will magically appear upon your screen. So let's talk about this one, Play with Fire, book number 5. Kate Shugak and Dinah, who's a wilderness photographer, who's a photographer. They are out photographing. They're out taking pictures of stuff. Anyway, there's a brown bear that they run across. Now, I lived in Alaska for 12, 10, I can't remember how many years. I was a kid. Grew up in Fairbanks, you know. My experience out moose hunting with my father, we ran into brown bears, grizzly bears, things like this. Yeah, you stay away. You know, she's with her dog, Mutt, and this photographer, and Mutt, the dog, plays a big role in these books. He's almost a character in itself. Not only that, but the Alaskan wilderness is almost a character in itself. I mean, just the opening scenes, we're out with this photographer taking nature photos. Dana Stabenow does just such a lovely job of describing Alaska, the experience of being in Alaska, what the nature is like. You can really see her love for the landscape, and that's one of the reasons I dig these books, is because the author lives there. She breathes the whole landscape into the books. And okay, so what's this book about? Well, it's a murder mystery, but within this murder mystery we get 5 or some odd pages of the history of mushrooms. We know what it's like when a poodle gets eaten by a bald eagle. One of the things that I love about this book is, in this whole series in general, is because it takes me back to places I've been and things I've forgotten about living in Alaska. You know, like I remember visiting the town of Tok, T-O-K, Tok. I think we pronounced it Tok. I remember visiting it when I was in Alaska, or the Glen Highway, or Tanada Lake. I stayed on a cabin on the north end of Tanada Lake, and when I was a young kid in the late 1970s. I mean, these are places that are integral to this story. And hearing different terms like Chichako, which is something I haven't heard for a while, but I do have a book called The Chichakos, which is about an Alaskan experience. I mean, you can tell that's an Alaskan experience right there on the cover, by Luke Short, or Wayne Short. The Chichakos. Now, a Chichako is sort of an innocent Alaskan, or a new Alaskan, or an outsider, or someone who just doesn't know Alaska that well, or called Chichakos. Anyway, So while they're out, while they are out doing this photography, doing some things, they're hunting mushrooms and things like that. Um, they find a body in the woods. That's one of the reasons I don't hike, people, or jog. I don't jog or hike. That's how you find dead bodies. I just don't do it, folks. Stay away. Okay, so anyway, this dead body leads to an investigation where there's a religious nutter kind of a guy who spouts lessons on Genesis and Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a 10-year-old boy who has asked Kate to help find her missing dad. What's one of the plot points? And now is the missing dad, this body that they found. One of the other reasons I love this book, and one of the reasons I'm wearing this shirt, is because a good portion of this book is set in Fairbanks, Alaska. And I grew up there, and Dana Stabenow kind of takes a shit on Fairbanks, which is fine. I mean, there are parts of Fairbanks that deserve to have a shit taken right all over them, especially the south side, which is where I lived. Lived on Buttercup Street in Fairbanks, which is south side Fairbanks, which is kind of the, it's a little sus. The area's a little sus. And Dana Stabenow gets it right. She describes it right. I've been there. I know what it's like. Fairbanks either has ice fog covering it, or smoke from forest fires, or it's just a cold, dark, dank place. We didn't wear jackets. As kids, we didn't wear jackets. She actually mentions that in Alaska, if it's 30 below, you just wear your t-shirts. 40 below, you might want to put on a light sweater. 50 below, maybe a coat. 70 below, let's go full on parka and mucklucks and things like that. She gets all this right. I mean, I like the series because I grew up in the landscape that she's setting these stories, and it's just cool to me. And I've read 5 of them now, and I've got some 20 more to go, or maybe 15. I don't know the math on it. There's a whole bunch of them over there. I showed you how much there are. Anyway, I like this book a lot. Probably my favorite one so far in the series, simply for the fact that the characters went to Alaska for a minute. They went to the Alaska Natural History Museum up at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, which I've been to. Back in the 70s and 80s and stuff, it looked different. I mean, they bulldozed that old building and they built a new one. I love the old one, though. I mean, but there's a big, huge mastodon or muskox or something in the entryway. Anyway, it's just a cool book and a cool place. And I loved revisiting a lot of this stuff that she's talking about in the book. And the fact that she mentioned Tanada Lake was crazy, because I thought that's an obscure place in Alaska. But cool, All right, then. I give this a 9.5 out of 10. It's just that dope.